if you are here, um, we're gonna wait for people and we'll get going right after that. If you are here, I should be able to make it where you can chat, all that stuff. Um, let's see. Okay. Okay. Um, Turn that light down a bit. Let's see how that looks. Okay. All right. So let's see. That's a good idea.
see here.
All right, let's see. Is anyone okay? We'll deal with that. All right. All right, just gonna test something out real quick. All right, screen share. Continue with screen share. Okay. All right, so let me. Okay, okay. All right, so yeah, so this is where a lot of my stuff is put. Obviously, it's easier to put a. All right, so this is actually where a lot of my stuff goes. A lot of clips on running, animals. There's a snake from today I just posted. A bunch of just different stuff. There's different, this one is yes, it's got a mix, but just tons of stuff. I try to do 4 reels a day, 4 to 5, 2 posts every 4 days or so. Obviously, sometimes it goes up and down. This was a fun memory. This was last weekend or so. This is Forrest Galante of the Wild Times podcast, and obviously his own multiple TV shows. And this is the Wild Times podcast crew. But so just, I like to travel. Obviously, it was just in Africa. That reminds me, I'll have to grab, show you something. But yeah, so just some of my, personal stuff, not too much. I do tend to like just focus on wildlife, the running, horses are fun. But back in Mexico, this is the first time in Africa, just a memory about it. But, and I'm just trying to share, I'm no expert. I'm trying to learn more each day. Not professional, trying to get there, trying to make money on the routes, to fund this, I guess, type of lifestyle. But this is what I like to do, just running up on an alligator, carefully, obviously. Let's see here. Yeah, so obviously there's an alligator there. Snakes, let's see. And then yeah, so just like doing different reels, some more meme type stuff. There's a lot of conservation focused stuff is what I'm really trying to. That's the main goal here is conservation. Wildlife is fun, running is fun, but conservation is the main goal. So that's what I really like to hit home. Again, trying to post a lot, trying to just showcase, hey, what's it look like to run in the hurricane and the edge of it at least. And just, just cool stuff like that. I see something cool, just like everyone else, take a picture, and that is, I'm going to stop this real quick. So let me, yeah. So, all right. We're back. Now let me 1 second here. Let's see. Yeah, so this was one of the many things. I just have a piece of wood in its mouth just for the effect. But obviously it's a crocodile skull, Nile crocodile. Very nice skull. This probably came from an alligator or a crocodile farm, something like that. So it's very clean. It's very pristine. Look at the teeth on that thing. So that was a fun trip, I have to say. And there's actually that side, obviously. That side is a picture of me running. There's a picture of me with a kudu that's sedated. It's not, in harm or anything like that. I have to remember to keep looking at the camera. So yeah, so that was a lot of fun. I loved Africa. That was very cool. And again, the main thing, and I want to pull this up. I have some notes because, like many of us, all right. Yeah, so wild running is really the immersion into the wilderness, remote wilderness, as wild as you can get in where you live, and just blazing trails. You're running in a wild area, and then you're encountering wildlife. That's all it is. Now, what the goal of this is trying to do is the fact of, there's a lot of people that run, there's a lot of people that like hiking, there's a lot of people that like, conservation. But to me, I think when you mesh, I think when people get on the side of they're survivalists, I think they're kind of hitting it what the running goal is, or when someone is a conservationist and they also like to take long walks, the beach, the woods, whatever, they're kind of hinting at it. I think the immersion of both, complete exercise, something that is very good for you, very primal, helps maintain your fitness. Obviously, most of us feel good after a good workout, and combining that with what I would argue is, one of our most natural places to be is in the wild. Obviously, nowadays, you throw a person in the wild, they might not last too long, but we all have a fondness, a attraction to being in nature, especially if it's like a sunset, something very beautiful. Most people aren't very fond of a rainstorm or a tornado. But anyhow, there's that immersion where it's just we want to be out there. We want to see animals, we want to see wildlife. Even if you're in the city, you still have some, Miami, for example, there's the Everglades, just a few dozen miles away. And then there's obviously the Keys right there. People are on the boats. So it's, people want that. And I think when you merge complete exercise with complete, wildlife immersion, then you just get this really, really cool combination that I found. And this is kind of like an antidote to why I've really, wanted to pick this up and share more about it, is the fact that I, make the joke to friends or peers or whatever. I'm just saying, I was finishing this 10-mile run, the back stretch of a 12-mile, whatever. Just, there's pine trees, there's palms. You felt late at night, you turn on a good song, you're seeing boar, and you get back and there's no one else there. I didn't see anyone else out there. There was no one else with a headlamp. There was no one else, booking 20 miles for that day. No one. And they always just like, well, yeah, no one's going to be out there. The fact that you're out there is already, maybe it's crazy. I don't think it's that, crazy, but people just, it's like, what, who would be out there at this time of night? And obviously I think, there's obviously some safety factors and stuff like that. But to someone who's, physically fit, who, if it's a very safe area, there's obviously the biggest risk out there is not people. It's, wildlife. Actually, the biggest risk, and this is a funny story, how I got my knee injury. Unfortunately, it wasn't from an animal. It wasn't like, crocodile came up, American crocodile came up, bit me while I was saving a manatee, or, I was swimming through water, shark got me, something like that. It was just falling, just running through the Everglades. It was the end of like a 100-mile week. I had shoes that had a tear in them, which is very funny because I took a picture right before the run of me, putting KT tape over the shoe. And I'm just checking something really quick. Sorry. And so I have that picture. I have obviously pictures from the nice Hispanic guy and his son that helped me get out of there safely. And what is really interesting, so yeah, that's the biggest risk, is falling. It's really just like who else would be out there? And that's where I thought to myself, but why not? Obviously this might be more geared towards, young men, or, very like women that are in like very, very safe areas. Obviously, I'm not like, if you're in a city and there's a park that's very wild, but it's at night, even if you're a guy, you gotta be very smart about that kind of thing. But I'm saying, like, the people that have that opportunity and it's there and they can go, like, you live in Colorado, you're off your doorstep in a beautiful area. Well, there's some other parts there, but if you have that opportunity, especially a lot of Floridians have that, even like very, very old people live in very nice areas next to wilderness, very young people, a lot of them too. And so it's just, if you have the opportunity, it's, to me, it's been amazing. I've just loved it. And that's what wild running is all about. It's about, let me check my notes again. It's about just that complete immersion with wildlife and exercise. And to me, running is the form that would be best to find wildlife, because you're literally, it's the oldest form of locomotion. It could say walking, but like something faster than walking. You can literally get very close to animals, because one, and I put a post about this a couple of days ago, but with bipedal nature, our arms balancing, the way our lungs are set up, our way that we pull from fat stores when we're in an aerobic phase of running, all these things actually made us, whether they are adaptations, but how far you put it back is up to you. But there was a central fact that us early in North America and Africa, the ability to run with your head about 5.5 this way, yeah, back then it was like 5 feet off the ground, 5 feet off the ground, scanning, and you can move, you can carry a spear with you, you can balance with the other, you can hold a kid, you can hold a club, and you can run and you can chase game down. That is why I think when you're out there, it's, some people are very like, oh, it's very hippish, or it's very like, it's like rock and crystal people. That's where it gets weird. It's just being out in nature, and all that stuff doesn't have to be this weird mystic thing. It's just, there has to be some obvious deep connection to, you can look at animals, you can look at us, you can look at the trees, you can look at us. There's connections. There's a reason we have, blood. Animals have blood. There's a reason why the wilderness has, we have a fondness for it. So that's it on that. And so again, this is for sure a serious intention. I'm not trying to just do a thing where I would just yap about for an hour and then we would make a few jokes or whatever, and then just that. But there's a serious intention to see where this goes for sure. A few of the ideas I had was, talking about, modern running the way it is. To me, that one of my biggest sticking points with modern running are the shoes. Just real quick, I would argue that most runners, especially more on the side of, novice, and when I say novice, I don't mean like you literally just started running last week. I mean anyone who pretty much isn't, getting real medals frequently, like real, like, club races, like very serious races, or the top of the road races. Most people, they get these very comfy shoes that they're sold to, on that they're, given maybe wrong information or however you tell it. But I would argue most runners are running with products that are actually making them weaker. It might not slow them down necessarily, because you can propel yourself with overuse of certain muscle groups or a certain running form, but have, a very weak, tiny muscle in the ankle that's not working anymore. And it's not good in the long run. So there's stuff like that. Talking about running, we can debate something like that. We can bring people on. Okay, hold on. All right, so 2 people from YouTube I just saw come on. Okay, let me check something. Okay. Okay. So, sorry about that. But yeah, we'll probably be wrapping up pretty soon. Obviously, there's not a huge amount of people here, but this is the first one. We're just getting started. We're just finishing up about, talking about what it would look like. So talking about running, talking about wildlife conservation, because that's the main goal. But then also, if in the future, if possible, there's running clubs, there's Strava clubs, that would be cool to get into, especially a group of people that would be wanting to run in the wild like that, as opposed to just a road race or a thing like that. Obviously, cross country, a lot of runners are really fond of that, but you really don't find too many cross country races outside of high school that are for the public, or very wild there. Usually, it's still kind of like halfway in a park, and then the rest is on sidewalk. So really getting into that, kind of seeing how we can actually build a community of running more into the actual wilderness. Kind of when there's a big trail running movement for sure, but it's not necessarily trail run, see an animal, look at it. It's more of just, we're just going to run the trail, and then, have the banana and the bagels at the end and call it good. Um, yeah, there's a few things. Obviously, Florida. That's where I'm based. That's where a lot of people I interact are based that work in conservation. So Florida will be a focus, but obviously across the country, across the world is a good focus because conservation and running. I can't think of too many other things except maybe religion and science or whatever that are so multinational, multicultural, whatever it is. So Florida obviously has a lot of stuff with conservation here. It is one of the fastest developing states in the world, especially in America, where just wild areas are being axed, drained, built up. And then kind of another thing to look into is let's see here. Obviously, looking at collaborations with their podcasts. One of my favorite ones is the Wild Times podcast. There's a few other ones like them, but the podcasts I see on wildlife are just wildlife or just running. There's not that overreach. So that's kind of the main stuff for this first um, first stream. Obviously, I'm going to keep doing it, even though this is the first one. And, I mean, cool that there's people here. So that's very good. That's very good. And conservation, running, especially bridging those two, anyone doing that is amazing. So looking at Saturday, probably like late afternoon, guess people might have some downtime there if they check in on a live stream. But also then that will be a recording for them to use or to see the rest of the weekend. So the plan is 2 a week. Going to start with the second one this Saturday. Look around for 3 or 4 Eastern Standard. And yeah, to all who came, obviously very thankful. Let me see if I can actually see. Okay, I can't see on YouTube right now. Let me. Okay, yeah. So I'm gonna wrap it up there. But thank you for coming. Definitely check in, with the socials, with the YouTube, with Rumble. Obviously, just getting it going. So still, getting it set up. But obviously, it's a cool field, and I think there's a lot to be gained from running and conservation at the same time. But thank you, and let me end it here.